Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to the Hyde Park Town Board meeting. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'd like to ask for a motion and a second to open the public hearing on the application of T-Rex Hyde Park Owners LLC for height variation for 6 buildings within the Bellafield Phase 2 Final Development Plan for standalone multifamily residential buildings.
We'll move. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Donna, will you read the public hearing notice?
Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park shall conduct a public hearing at the Town Hall, 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, 12538, on December 12, 2022 at 6:05 p.m. to accept public comment on the application of T-Rex Hyde Park Owner LLC for height variations for 6 buildings within the Bellafield PUD Phase 2 Final Development Plan for standalone multifamily residential buildings. The applicant seeks town board variations from the permit height of 46 feet to allow construction of Building 100 at a height of 47 feet 4 inches, a variation of 1 foot 4 inches. Building 200 at a height of 51 feet 4 inches, a variation of 5 feet 4 inches. Building 300 at a height of 53 feet, a variation of 7 feet. Building 400 at a height of 52 feet 6 inches, a variation of 6 feet 6 inches. Building 500 at a height of 50 feet, a variation of 4 feet. And Building 600 at a height of 52 feet, a variation of 6 feet. The variations are sought pursuant to Town Board's authority over height variations in PUD projects as set forth in Section 3A9 of the 2021 amended Comprehensive Development Plan for Bellafield, and in Sections 108-4.4 and 108-7 of the Code of the Town of Hyde Park. The Bellafield project has been reviewed as a Type 1 action under seeker. An environmental impact statement was prepared, and seeker findings originally adopted in 2007. On December 8, 2021, the Planning Board, as lead agency, adopted an amended findings statement. On December 20, 2021, the Town Board adopted the same findings and approved the amended Comprehensive Development Plan. The Planning Board continues to serve as seeker lead agency for the project. In that capacity, it is evaluating the site-specific impacts of the Phase 2 Final Development Plan, including any potential impacts associated with the proposed height variations. All documents relating to the above application are available for inspection at the town clerk's office during normal business hours and are also posted on the town's official website at www.hydeparkny.us/187/projects. All persons desiring to be heard on the application for height variation shall be given an opportunity to do so at said public hearing. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated November 18th, 2022, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Donna. Would council wish to give us a explanation and purpose for this?
Yes, so the public hearing notice sums it up. The applicant's here to apply for height variations, deviating from what the 2021 comprehensive or concept plan outlines. So typically this would be something that would fall to a ZBA under our town code, and with this particular project, the authority lies with the town board. So that is what the review will be tonight. The applicant was here last month and presented the information, and tonight we'll have the public hearing. A few related issues. The planning board was given the application under the town code that's required, or under the plan that's required, and they spoke favorably in granting the variations. That will be part of the record, and it was also referred to Dutchess County Planning. We did receive a timely reply, and they informed us that it's a matter of local concern. So that being said, we would defer now to the applicant, and you can present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. Last time we were in front of you, we went back to the Planning Board. The presentation that you're going to see is that Planning Board presentation. Kelly will do that. Also to my right is Jennifer Van Tile, the land use attorney, and we have Mike McCormick, the architect, with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I'm Kelly Leibolt with KARC Planning Consultants. We have a presentation here. We can't find the mouse, so that's why we were rustling around trying to find the mouse too. So Amy's going to help us with advancing the presentation. So what is on the screen is the same copies of the documents in front of you. There's nothing new contained in this information, so it's just a recitation of what you've already seen compiled in a nice presentation for the public. So as you had indicated, this particular project received conceptual development plan approval in 2021. This is just a copy of that plan that was approved, which is routinely called the Hart-Howerton Plan, and we had overlaid our particular project on the Hart-Howerton Plan, which we call Phase 2 of the project. The current project, I think many people driving by see construction and probably wonder what's going on and where is this project that we're talking about relative to the construction that you see. So going from left to right on the screen is where you would go from the north to the south. So on the north, right now, although difficult to see because it's underground and behind trees, is the ongoing construction of the wastewater treatment plant. And we call that Phase 1 wastewater treatment plant. As you move further down the site and to the south of the wastewater treatment plant is this project, which is the Phase 2 project area. And then as you move further down on the site, many of you driving by will see the construction of the hotel, which was in Phase 1 construction, and that's the most prominent activity that's going on the site. The particular project that is front of this town as a whole, in front of the planning board and the town board, is predominantly the village neighborhood, which was part of the Hart-Howerton Plan. So in this neighborhood, there's 356 residential units. There's 177,368 square foot of non-residential square footage, and there is the 106,000 square foot hotel, which is under construction. So the density that will remain after this site, of course this is a much larger project, will be 445 units and 546,000 square feet of non-residential space. So there is a larger portion of this project that's still yet to come before the planning board and the town board. The access to this project has been predominantly established, so there's an existing egress-ingress on West Dorsey, and then there are two ingress-egress points on US Route 9, one being the signalized intersection, and then the other to the north of that. Infrastructure, this is going to be a municipal sewer water system that's going to be owned by the applicant, and then storm and electric and natural gas. The area for this particular development is approximately 40 acres of this larger site. There's no wetland disturbance that's proposed as part of this development. And the development mix ratio for this is 60 or less than 60 residential and over 40% commercial. And that's important because that was in the design guidelines for the original project. We did provide you with this drawing. It's really the site development, and it's a summary table. I understand it's difficult to read on this particular plan, but we had previously provided you with larger scale drawings. But this is a useful tool to the planning board because it breaks down each of the buildings with a number and then the type of use for each building, the square footage, the number of units, et cetera. And it provides you with an overall general breakdown of the development in this particular section. The Main Street elevations are an important component of this project and have been much of the review under the planning board and of course this board. The drawing that's on the bottom of the board that I have here for you shows the same screen, the same image that you see on the screen. And this is just a compilation of all of the buildings that comprise Main Street. So you can get a sense of the colors, the materials, and the architecture. As your council had indicated, we're before this board tonight to review variations which are commonly reviewed in other applications by the ZBA. And the jurisdiction to grant height variations by this board was outlined, as you indicated, in the 2021 amended concept development plan. And so it states, any variation that exceeds the authorizations to the planning board set forth in this document and in the town board's resolution and seeker findings may be approved by the town board upon request by the applicant, which is we're here before you, subject to review that considers any pertinent environmental issues related to the specific request. The planning board may provide a recommendation to the town board relating to any such request, which again, as indicated by your counsel, you have received the recommendation from the planning board, a positive recommendation regarding the variations that are before you. So as you had indicated before in the public hearing notice, there's 6 buildings that are the subject of variations. We provided a list here for you. The concept plan height that was outlined in the design guidelines is 46 feet. The requested height is next to each of the buildings that were being requested, and then you can see the variation or the deviation that's being requested. So on the list, we have the height, the additional height that's requested that ranges from 1 foot 4 inches up to 7 feet. The reason that there's a variation in the heights that's being requested is because there actually are varying heights that are being requested. And that's because you have undulating and changing roof lines and architecture on the building. As shown on this plan, on the illustration in front of you, and on the board that's on the top of the presentation that we have, there's areas that are shown in yellow. It's very difficult to see, but those areas that are shown in yellow are the limited areas of each building that require a variation. In other words, it's not the entire building that requires a variation, it's sections of the building. And that is because each building's height measurement varies based on the underlying ground, the ground elevation. So on this particular plan, you can see that not all of the buildings require variation, but only a portion of each building. I know that's confusing, and that's why we tried to provide an illustration so you could see what portions of the building require this variation. So again, this just provides a sample of one of the renderings that we provided the planning board to show you that there's a de minimis at best difference in the height of these buildings when you're looking at the renderings. So for example, buildings 700 and 800 are right along Main Street and don't require variations to their building. The buildings behind them, buildings 300 and 400, do require variations, but there's no negligible difference when you're looking at the project, particularly from Route 9 and if you're on Main Street. To ease in the explanation of this, we tried to provide a site section. So on the top of the illustration, if you're looking from left to right, on the left is someone who would be in a car on US Route 9, and they would be looking east into the site. So they would look past the parking deck, some of the other buildings, building 900 and 700 on Main Street, and then the buildings that are the subject of the height variations are all the way in the back. So they're furthest from US Route 9, and they're screened predominantly from the existing infrastructure and improvements that are located in front of them to the west of those buildings. And so the purpose of this site section is to show that it would be very difficult to see the actual requested variations, a noticeable difference if you were sitting on Route 9. So again, the buildings that are the subject of this request are furthest in the back of the site. Going from left to right, the buildings go obviously down in number. So building 600 is furthest to the north, and that building is over 700 feet from US Route 9. Over to building 500, it's over 700 feet. Building 400 is over 800 feet. Building 300 is over 800 feet. Building 200 is over 600 feet, and building 100 is over 600 feet. So again, these buildings are a significant distance from US Route 9. We also tried to provide you with, well, what would it look like if you were standing on Route 9? Although this elevation is slightly higher than if you were standing on Route 9, this would give you a perspective of what you would see. So the first thing that you would see on the bottom of the rendering is the parking garage. And so there's screening against the parking garage, and then there's the parking garage itself, which uses a variety of different materials to provide further screening. The next buildings that you would see would be the buildings that are on Main Street. So you would see the back of those buildings. And then grayed in the distance would be the buildings that we're seeking the variations for. So why are we asking for these variations? There are 6 buildings that ended up being slightly larger than the original design in the concept plans. And in the concept plans, we're doing master plan design, not necessarily taking into consideration grading, utilities, infrastructure improvements, road designs, ADA compliance. And once all of those design criteria are put into a site plan, you have buildings that are varying heights because you have grades that are varying heights. And the way that height is measured in the town of Hyde Park is, it sounds simple, like, oh, you just measure the height of the building, but it's not that easy. So it's the vertical extent or distance from the average elevation of the proposed finished grade around the perimeter of the building, measured every 10 feet of any structure other than the building being measured, to the highest point of such structure. The building height is actually measured from the average elevation, as I just discussed, to the proposed finished grade around the perimeter, measured every 10 feet, to the midpoint of the highest point of the peak of the highest roof. So we brought Mike McCormick here, who's the architecture for the building, so in case anyone has any questions, he can answer that. As you can see, it's very complicated how that's measured. His office has done detailed drawings showing how each building is measured and showing the area within each building that requires the variation. So for purposes of illustration, that's why we provided you with that drawing that shows the yellow hatched area, that shows the only sections that require the variation. So as your council had indicated, we did receive correspondence back from county planning. So they did a review of the project and indicated that it was a matter of local concern, meaning it's up to this board to decide how you want to proceed. And we did receive a positive recommendation from the planning board indicating their support for the variations. The last document that we provided is that same rendering that just gives you a bird's eye view of the project. And the last plan, this is just a rendering bird's eye view again of the entire phase 2 of the project. And the buildings that we are seeking the variations for are all the way in the back, in the middle of this rendering, in the middle of this view. So that completes the presentation that we have for you. Again, nothing is new information. It's just a compilation of what we've previously provided the board. So you have the team here. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer those questions.
I just have one question. Way back you said it's going to have electric, but you said natural gas, and it's not listed on here. Are you bringing in natural gas?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Interesting, thank you.
Anyone else on the board have any questions?
I just got one quick question. It's just for my only information. The line of sight from the car, now would that be, you're out to the closest lane of the project? I mean, it's 4 or 5 lanes, and how do you make that determination since the grade is going uphill as the buildings are being constructed? It looks like the line that you're showing, you don't see anything. You go clear sight past everything. How could that be?
Because of the grades, so first of all, the location of the car is the center lane, so it's the center lane on Route 9, and because Route 9 at that area, if you cut a section across it, is the same elevation, so it's taken from the center lane.
Okay.
And as you look east, there is a grade differential, and then there's buildings that are in front of you, so that's what blocks your line of sight of those particular buildings.
But also, we did not show the vegetation. There is vegetation that will be there. And will
Okay.
remain.
Further screening.
Yeah.
Yep, so there's further screening.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Donna, have you received any comments?
No further comments.
Any of the public like to make comments regarding this?
I could say if they need to. No?
No? Can council explain the reason behind the continuing of the public hearing, please?
Yes, so I will get to that. And it's understood that these are variations, not technically area variances, but just for peace of mind and to ensure that they would survive any challenge. If you wouldn't mind going through the 5 factors, just briefly, I think self-created is, a given, and they can be brief.
Sure, we're happy to do that. As you know, we believe that on the overall balancing test between the benefit to the applicant and any detriment to the community, I think Kelly's description has really shown that there is no adverse impact on the community because of the great distance of these buildings from any boundary line, including the Route 9 boundary line, as well as the West Dorsey Lane boundary line, because of the extensive vegetation and because of the design features that show that the variances are not substantial. So going through the 5 factors, we would say, first of all, there is no undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood by approving the height increases for all of the reasons that Kelly has presented. We don't believe that the benefits sought by the applicant could be achieved by any other method because there really is no other feasible way to provide the buildings that we have designed with the amenities, and at the same time minimizing site disturbance. So I think one of the factors maybe we didn't highlight as much as we should have is that the design of these buildings actually helps the developer to manage the grades on the site, because as you know from seeing it, there's quite a lot of grade. And by obtaining these variations, we will be able to manage the grade while limiting site disturbance. So I think that's an important factor about the environmentally sensitive way that this is being done. So the grades on the site actually create practical difficulties for us in designing the buildings. Whether the requested height variances are substantial, I think it's clear that they are not when they're viewed in terms of the overall total building height. It's easy to see that yellow section is just a very small portion of the building. Secondly, as Kelly said, not every single portion of the length of the building requires a variation at all. In fact, if you look from over the entire length of the building area from north to south, including the open spaces between the buildings, only approximately 1/2 of the length of the building area requires variation. So it puts it in context that it's not substantial. And then the variances range from 1 foot 4 inches, which is hardly even observable, to 7 feet, which in the overall view of the buildings is not extensive. And since finished grade is measured in 10 feet increments around the building, the fact that the building is on a significant grade actually serves to increase its measured height, right? Because the 1/2 of the building is up here and the other half of the building is there. So the next of the 5 factors is whether the proposed variation would have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. We have not discovered any element in the review that's taken place to date, including discussions with the planning board, that would articulate, but as your counsel will explain, the reason that we're requesting that the matter be put over is so that the planning board can officially conclude its seeker review and document that for the record. And then lastly, the last of the 5 factors is whether the alleged difficulty, which it was self-created, which even if it was, is not a bar to the variance because it's an area variance, but we don't believe that the difficulty was self-created because it arises solely out of the grades of the site, which is a physical factor. And lastly, I would say that these are the appropriate minimum variances, meeting that standard of the law because there is no adverse impact that would require us to minimize variances further in order to lessen any actual impact that's taking place. And in fact, Mike's office and his design have already minimized the variations that we're here to request. So that just sums it up for the record.
Thank you. So as was mentioned, the planning board is lead agency to review phase 2, well, the entire project, but currently before them is phase 2 of the project, of which the height variations were submitted. While this board has already received a favorable comment, it would be advisable to wait until they do conclude their seeker review, which is anticipated to occur later this month. So it would be suggested that the board keep open the public hearing and adjourn that until January. We have the reorganization meeting on the 3rd. We would not put it on that one, but I believe the second one is on the 23rd. So I'll leave that to the board. So you can do a motion.
Yep.
I just have one question, Mr. McCormick. I've been pretty much focused on the height variations, and one of the things that I overlooked, even though there's a two-tier parking deck here, and even though that's in the front of this structure, none of that is even going to be visible from Route 9 due to the elevation and the wood screening that's there?
Yeah, for the most part, you'll be screened by the vegetation and the trees that'll be along Route 9. You certainly will see it, that's what we've provided, the screening along the structure itself. It's actually very unique in terms of its look. It'll actually look, I think, really nice. So in terms of the parking structure, it'll be one of a kind in the area, because it's going to look nice.
Excellent design, sir, thank you.
I just wanted to comment on that very quickly because I think it's difficult to see on the elevation, but the trees that you see along the side of the parking deck aren't actually trees. It's a metal stamp, or it's a stamp in a metal panel that's going to be applied onto the side of the parking deck that will provide additional screening. So when Mike says this is one of a kind, this is a unique custom product that this company is preparing to put on the side of the building. It will be complemented with wood slats that will offset the metal. So the planning board has gone to great lengths with the applicant to design screening that they think really meets the design guidelines. So we're looking forward to seeing this tree stamped along the side of the building.
So I'm just curious, I know this has little to do with the variance, but the wood screening, can that be replaced? I mean, wood, even your best hard protected wood eventually succumbs to weather.
Yeah, if the wood goes away at some point, it certainly can, yeah, it's connected so that you could replace them.
You can replace them if they have, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, the metal screen will last for a long time.
Well, yeah, interesting.
It'll be very nice, actually. And it's supposed to weather, patina.
Right.
It'll look great.
Won't look like a parking deck.
No.
Right.
Any I've ever seen. Looks great. I need a motion and a second to continue the public hearing until January 23rd, 23.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Anytime, thank you. He'll say it.
Yeah, I'd like to do the acceptance of the meeting minutes of November 14th. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, public comments on resolution and town business only. None?
Great.
Okay, that's always good. We go into, we gotta go into the executive section. Really?
You don't have to do that.
Can I do it after that?
Yeah,
let's do it over
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so
Just leave that.
we'll go to the workshop.
Are we doing
we'll-
the executive session or the workshop?
We're gonna do that after, get everything else completed. Is that okay?
You
Because
want-
they always take a while. Okay, we'd like to go right to the workshop for Azusa Saki Manufacturing Plant. We'll discuss their submission to the town board requesting a reduction in their building permit extension fee.
Do we have an opportunity to speak?
Excuse me?
I'm sorry, I'm on behalf of that client. Do we have an opportunity to speak?
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
I know it's different for each municipality, so I just want to make sure it's proper.
Oh, we yell a lot.
All right, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Brian Sensabaugh. I'm an attorney with Zarin and Steinmetz, 81 Main Street, White Plains, New York. On behalf of the client in this case and the applicant, Asai Hishuzu International Company Ltd. I'm here with regard to the application for the development of the sake distillery, and more particularly in connection with the building permits that we have pulled for this project. So we have 2 building permits, BP 15508-19, which is for our entire project. The second building permit is for just the sake facility on its own, which is BP 16220-21. What I'm here for tonight is to request a reduction in the extension fees associated with these permits. The standard under the fee schedule is 75% of the original fee. However, as of right now, the project is 95% complete. So as permitted in the fee schedule, it does allow the town board to, with referral or comment from the town planning board and the town building department, to reduce that fee. And again, given the extent of the completion at this point, which is 95%, and the amount of possible fees, the amount that the fee would be in comparison to what possible inspection fees would remain, I do believe that this would be proper for the board to take this action. The fee calculations, as we've shown, it's in our letter from November 23rd. The original fee, if this were to be applied with a standard, is $38,652. If you're looking at just at the remaining construction and taking a percentage of that, if you took 5% of the original fee, seeing how we have 95% completion, the fees would be $2,576.80. Alternatively, also in the letter, we did provide a breakdown into what we thought was the remaining costs associated with the inspections for the remaining 5%, which would be approximately $5,000. I understand this is a workshop, so I guess in sum, I'm just requesting that this board do take this into consideration and refer this to the planning board and the building department for comment.
Anybody have any questions?
Just a clarification, please.
Yes.
It's 95% completed.
Correct.
Looks great. Not that they
Thank
can
you.
tell me. But you need an extension for the rest of it. However, the permit's been expired since March, is that right?
That is correct. There was an expiration. I know that we've been, some other individuals, this is my first time before this board, so I'm new here, but I do know that we've been working with the town to try to address some of those issues, but we did want to come before the board and make this one lump sum request with regard to the renewal and the extension on this.
Do you know when the main building's permit expired, by any chance?
That would be the March one.
It's back in March.
March 27th.
March.
So are you, let me just clarify, to make sure I understand this right. For the main building permit that expired in March 27th of 2022, at that point, were you 95% complete or no?
At that point, at the current time, we are now 95% complete.
Was there any, do you know if there was any relief given during the COVID period? I know there was something.
They shut down, but they already broken ground. But here, look at this, please.
I gotta read the
actual building permits.
I don't have the whole.
I think he was mistaken. That was given to me by the building department, and there's several emails you can see going back and forth about this. Have you renewed the permit at any given time, do you know?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because I'm looking at the building permit for the main building. It expired on October 16th, 2020.
That may have been-
Theirs expired on 9/20.
I was going to say, that may have been renewed because there was an expiration on September 20th, 2022.
So 1622, 0 is for the main building.
Okay. So as you mentioned, the town code, that section of the town code does at least suggest that the board get the advice and recommendation from the building inspector and the planning board. So at this point, the board has the information, we'll consider it.
Certainly.
We'll refer it to those entities
Okay.
to get their input. And then, I don't know that the board wants to schedule this for a decision at this point. I don't think that it's required by town code either. So we'll
Yeah.
just take the information,
Okay.
refer it, and then if it does get put on the agenda, we'll certainly communicate that
All right.
to you.
Is there any information that the board needs in addition to what has been provided that would be helpful? Or is it just more or less relying on the building department at this point, and the planning department, or planning board?
I think there is slight confusion just on the expiration dates because your correspondence says March of 2022, but the footnote does comment on administrative extensions.
Okay.
So we would just want to follow up on our end with the building inspector
Okay,
to make sure that that information is correct, that it was extended from 2020 to 21 and then to 22.
Understood.
Because I think that would impact the board's decision on if it's,
Yeah.
2 years outdated, then
certainly.
potentially they
That'd be a problem.
view it differently.
Yeah.
So,
I just got one other question. You have there's a project manager or a project overseer on this project?
There is, correct.
Is there an active construction schedule with milestones and completion and what scope of work is being performed on a daily basis?
I can request an update on what we have as opposed to what was provided when we initially had our application. If
Okay.
that's what you'd like.
Yes, please.
Okay.
and then forgive me if this is in the correspondence, I read a lot about this, but I can't recall a specific date. But 95% completed is one thing, but as far as the remaining 5%, like along those lines of what the board member asked, like, is there a timeline as to when that would be completed or is anticipated?
I know that they're looking, it's a very short horizon, obviously. I don't have a very specific answer for you at this point.
Okay.
But that is something I could follow up on as well as with the active calendar.
That's why I said if we get an actual calendar with the construction and the means and methods of how they're getting to the finish line, you know, better.
Did I just repeat your
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
So- Sorry.
He used construction language. You used
Clarified,
legal
not
language.
repeated.
Just wanted to-
I think that would be
I think they need the sewer treatment completed before anything can happen. And that's expired as of September.
Anybody else?
Anyone else have anything?
I have nothing.
Thank you.
Project looks great, coming along.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you, Counselor.
looks a lot better now with the orange pens.
Those are big.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, we'll go to the resolutions. Want to start down, Nicole, on your end?
I'm sorry, we were talking. Resolution 12-1 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to award the bids for the Town of Hyde Park Highway Department for contractual services for 2023.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 1212, excuse me, -2 of 2022. Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to award the bids for the 2023 Town of Hyde Park highway materials.
May I have a second?
Second? No, I was just looking at who they were, yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-3 of 2022, resolution authorizing the town, Hyde Park Town Supervisor to execute an extension of the intermunicipal cooperation agreement with the Town of Hyde Park Highway Department and the Hyde Park Central School District for 2023.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-4 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to appoint Jacob Chase as full-time motor equipment operator for the Town of Hyde Park Highway Department.
May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Is Jacob here?
Jacob here? Yeah, that's him right there.
Great.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Howie was going to come, but he's, of course, with the snow and everything that was going on, he's trying to get a little rest because the guys will be going out again in the morning, but congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Resolution 1212-5 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to appoint Police Officer Michael Stallone as an acting full-time police sergeant for the Town of Hyde Park Police Department.
May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carried. Oh, I see Officer Stallone's here.
Officer Stallone.
Thank you.
I know.
Let's get sworn in. Are we going down?
Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Michael Stallone. I, Michael Stallone. Do solemnly swear. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New York. And the Constitution of the State of New York. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties. And I will faithfully discharge the duties. Of acting full-time police sergeant. Of acting full-time police sergeant. According to the best of my ability. According to the best of my ability. You're sworn. All right, congratulations.
Chance does have a red ribbon. He's on the Are you well? Yes, I figured rather than do it, slip and fall off the dais. And good experience for her too. It is. It was,
Thank you. Okay, who left off?
I think me. Resolution 1212-6 of 2022. Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to acknowledge the resignation of Michael Travis as part-time police assistant for the Town of Hyde Park Police Department.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-7 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to acknowledge the resignation of Omar Vega as part-time police assistant for the Town of Hyde Park Police Department.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-8 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to acknowledge the resignation of part-time Town of Hyde Park Police Officer Michael Plass.
May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-9 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve vacation carryover for the Town of Hyde Park Police Lieutenant Paul Kacha.
Second?
Doesn't that have to be 23?
Yes, we'll change it to the same thing here.
Bob Benson, too.
Can't we do a motion to amend it now?
You want me to
Since
just
that
make a
one was
motion to?
published?
Okay, absolutely.
So
Okay.
before the board
You're right.
votes on that, the
9 and
date
10.
actually says 2022, so the chair will call for a motion
Open.
to change the date to the end of 2023 to use the vacation time.
I'd like to have a motion to change the date on number 9 from 2022 to 2023.
So moved.
Also,
Wait a minute.
a motion on number 10, the same thing, to change the end of 2022 to 2023.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and then a second on the motion, no, I'm sorry, a motion to adopt Resolution 9 as amended.
So moved. Oh,
Well, he'll call the motion.
Both 9 and 10, a motion to,
Just do 9.
oh, just do 9?
Yeah.
We gotta do it again for 10? A motion to approve the resolution as amended.
so moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then Resolution 10 has been amended, so you can move forward with it as amended.
Okay.
Resolution 1212-10 of 2022. Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve vacation carryover for Town of Hyde Park Police Chief Robert Benson.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-11 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve vacation carryover for Town of Hyde Park zoning secretary Ann Hampston.
Yes. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-12 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Board to approve vacation carryover for the Town of Hyde Park Building Department Secretary Barbara Keenan.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-13 of 2022, resolution authorizing the release of the balance of escrow from the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board according to resolution number 22-C.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-14 of 2022. Resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to enter into intermunicipal agreement with the County of Dutchess as part of the Town of Hyde Park's participation in the Dutchess County Body-worn Cameras Shared Services Purchase Program.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1212-15 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to enter into agreement for the 2023 between Taconic Resources for Independence Incorporated and Mid-Hudson Interpreter Services and the Town of Hyde Park for sign, visual, languages, oral, and the tactical methods for interpreting services for the Town of Hyde Park Police Department.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carried.
I think this is a great resolution. I think that to have this working with Taconic Resources and the interpreting group, I think it's wonderful. Just want to say that.
Resolution 1212-16 of 2022, resolution authorizing the release of the balance of escrow for the completed projects that were reviewed by the Town of Hyde Park zoning administrator.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Motion and a second to add.
Oh, I need a motion and a second to have this resolution 12-12-17 added at the dais.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Whose turn to read the
Mine.
resolution?
Resolution 1212-17 of 2022, resolution authorizing the Town of Hyde Park Town Supervisor to execute an employment agreement renewal for the Town of Hyde Park Police Chief Robert J. Benson.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, I'm going to ask the board's forgiveness. I did make an error with the motions that we amended. I misread it. The way it was worded was correct, so it should not be changed. So apologies to the town clerk for the hassle, but we will have to just do a motion to adopt Resolution 9 as originally drafted. So if you can make a motion.
Let me just,
May I have a motion to adopt it as written?
let's wait, hold on a second.
It was unable to utilize the rest of his vacation time by the end of 2022.
Right.
I thought it indicated the
No, okay.
termination date of 2023, so I made the mistake.
Gotcha.
So she doesn't get paid for that.
Back charge.
So
Back charge.
you don't get my bread from Tad.
Okay.
Somebody needs to make
Also-
that motion.
So we're good. We don't have to change
So,
Yep,
10?
yep, that motion.
you gotta make the,
Oh, may I have the motion to make those, to accept it as originally stated?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah, second, Lynn second.
second. Aye.
We don't have to do 10.
And then the same thing with 10, yeah.
Okay, I need a motion to accept Resolution 12-12-10 as originally written.
So moved.
A sec?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Amended and correct.
And I'm-
Amended and put back.
and then I'm- So we have
You want old business?
No, I think I skipped the executive session.
Do you want to do that now? Or do you want to do one more business and do the executive then, so people can...
Thank you for accepting your contract again, Chief. We're very happy to have you on board.
You can do the end.
welcome to staying.
They're here.
I think that's,
Why didn't they make a comment during public comment?
I don't think it's on the
Quite a few officers that
It's allowed to make.
blessed to have.
Use the power.
The lady in the rear, please. You guys want to make a comment?
Well, I think maybe there was a little misunderstanding. I thought we were supposed to make a presentation tonight for Habitat for Humanity. That's what we had on our schedule.
Oh.
But it's okay, we can come back another
I
time.
mean, you can make a motion to add it to the agenda and allow it.
Why don't we
They're
do
here.
I'd like to make a motion to add Habitat for Humanity to tonight for a presentation.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, thank you. Who said government doesn't work quickly?
I made some.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Maureen Lashley. I'm the CEO of Habitat for Humanity of Dutchess County. And this is John Hyde. He is the Director of Construction and manages not only our subcontractors and our jobs, but our volunteers as well. So he has a huge job. And we were fortunate enough to get a chance to meet with the supervisor last month and talked a little bit about Habitat, and I think he was surprised at some of the things he learned, and he thought maybe the board would also like to hear a few things. So did I get that right?
You got it.
Okay, all right. So I know that you don't take thumb drives and all that, because you've had some issues in the past, but we did send some things over, but I'm thinking they're not here tonight, so that's okay. We can send them back over to you at another time, but I have a very quick presentation. I think probably more than anything, you're going to want to ask us questions. For those of you who don't know it, Habitat for Humanity has been in Dutchess County since 1986, but we've existed as an organization since 1976. Here in Dutchess County, we've done, our work has predominantly been accomplished in the last 10 years, but since 1986, we've built 36 homes and done over 250 critical home repairs. 2 of those homes actually are in the Hyde Park School District, not in Hyde Park, but in the school district, and many of those critical home repairs are in fact in Hyde Park. So I think that was one of the first things that the supervisor was surprised to hear. So I also, we've been trying to figure out how we can build more houses. And so what's the first thing that we have to do? We have to find more money, right? And so nationally, there's this amazing program called Restore. If anyone's not familiar with it, it's an opportunity for you to donate your used goods to our store, and we resell them at about 30% of their value, and those funds actually help us build our new homes. And every year, we keep approximately 100,000 tons out of the landfill. That is not our mission. It is just a byproduct of finding a way to help us build more houses. So I think that's kind of a really cool opportunity that we've created apart from home ownership. So Habitat for Humanity is a home ownership program. And it is kind of important to note that we are not an emergency housing program. We do get a lot of phone calls for that. We try to hook people up with other organizations that are able to do that, but unfortunately, John cannot build a house overnight. He really does need a day or two more than that. So, yeah. Trying to convince him we're going to try a blitz build, which is a 7-day build, but then I have to run for cover when I do that. So, but a Habitat homeowner purchased their home after they've been approved based on their income and their credit to purchase a home at 29% of their gross income. Now that number includes their property taxes as well as their homeowner's insurance. So right away, I think I might have said something to you you're surprised at, that homeowners buy their homes in Habitat. I know that's been a surprise for a lot of people. And also that they pay taxes on their property, just as you and I do. So what we bring to the table is a training program to help folks get through that whole application process for credit and access to credit. New York State has a wonderful program called Sony May. If you're not familiar with it, it's a first-time home buyers access to mortgage dollars. But what they've done is they've gone a step further, and they've actually put together a Sony May product that is just for Habitat for Humanity. So all of our homeowners are able to get a guaranteed 2% interest rate on their mortgages, which is what really makes it possible for them to become homeowners. In addition to that, and I think this is one of the things the supervisor wanted to make sure that you know that we do, we have a very, very strong aging in place program. John, about how many ramps have we done since you started with us?
Well, like 7 so far.
And John's not here a year yet.
Not here 7 months. It's about 7 months. So once a year.
1 a month.
So,
Once a month, excuse me.
and often we'll get a phone call from a social worker at the hospital saying that the patient can't come home unless there's a ramp. We actually had a family who the husband actually was getting, kidney dialysis. And he had used up the maximum number of emergency visits that he could get from the mobile van. And the wife had no way to get him out of the house to get to his treatments. John went in, built a ramp, and he's still getting his treatments and doing quite well. We also do that for children. And as we move forward, We are doing everything we can to build our homes so that families can age in place in them. It's not always possible, especially if we're doing gut rehabs, but John's found a lot of assistance in the area of aging in place, so we've been very lucky. We also run what I think is a fun program. It's called A Brush with Kindness. Some seniors especially, they just can't get out. They can't rake their yards. They maybe need some caulking around their windows. Maybe they need their gutters cleaned out. We do that. We help whenever we can. And then we have something else that I think we may be the only people in the county that do this, and that is mobile home repair. And we believe at Habitat that mobile homes are a permanent solution to housing here in Dutchess County. And if we can keep those homes in a good state of repair, they're a good solution for families who otherwise would not have access to safe and affordable housing. So we want to make sure that we keep doing that. Sorry, did you want to ask a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's good to know.
Just a little bit more about Restore. We've probably had close to, in the 6 years we've been open, 50,000 donations. And by that I mean individual donors making donations. Most of them give multiple items, so it's significantly higher than that. And it's easier to tell you what we won't take. We cannot, New York state law does not allow us to take used mattresses. And we don't take appliances that are over 7 years old, but pretty much anything else that you can imagine we are able to accept. And so it sort of has three lives. That first life of how are you, how can we make sure that a family has access to good furniture, has access to good appliances that they might not be able to get at full price. So that's the first thing that we're able to do. The second thing is that those funds actually help us build our next house. And then, as I said earlier, we're keeping about 100,000 tons a year out of the landfill. So we are also proud of the fact that we have created 12 living wage jobs as a result of opening up the Restore. What we are especially surprised at often is how many jobs are created as a result of our building a home. John can tell you a little bit about
our volunteer basis. We have about 250 people within our what they call a Habitat Hub, where they volunteer their services. Volunteerism for Habitat is unsurmountable. We can't make it without them. We can't make it without the volunteers. Because then if we don't have volunteers, then we have to more or less pay, subcontractors to do to complete the work, and that really takes points off the board for us. So we got a good core of volunteers, carpenters, painters, block masons, cement masons, that we go out and do. We build the houses, and also we repair a lot of homes. So I can't make it without volunteers. Even if I was to come to Hyde Park, I would need volunteerism, boots on the ground all the time, just to make sense of the whole process.
And in addition to that, John does manage subcontractors that are paid a fair wage to do those specialty things that we
Plumbing.
Probably don't want our volunteers doing. In the past, we've had subcontractors that did volunteer their time, but we understand that they need to make a living too, and so we're prepared to pay them. I'm wondering, does anybody have a guess on who a Habitat homeowner is? Do you have sort of a picture in your mind of who that might be? So we've just come through COVID, right? COVID, all of those essential workers that kept us going, the paraprofessionals at the hospital, the paraprofessionals in our school district, the barista who serves us our coffee every morning. I cannot do without my barista. I just absolutely cannot. Senior citizens, veterans, they are all Habitat homeowners. They are people that serve our community but cannot afford to live in our community. And we are especially cognizant of the fact that our veterans are having more and more difficulty finding ways to stay here in our community. And so we're focusing our energies on trying to find folks in the community who fit those specific characteristics. We just had an open enrollment period, and for the first time ever, we had so many applications, we had to close it. For 7 possible inventory properties, we had 80 people apply for those houses, and it's very difficult to say no, but we also recognize that it's a process to become a homeowner, and we don't want to do anything that would put people in a situation where they weren't ready. And so instead of setting them up for success, we're setting them up for failure. So we're trying very hard to make sure that we follow our own rules. In general numbers, in order to qualify for a Habitat home, you have to make between $35,000 a year and 80% of the area median income. And you may know that the area median income for Dutchess County is $115,000 a year. Now, that number skews a little bit because it is also based on family size, but anyone who's buying a house is paying probably 50 to maybe 40% of the actual fair market value of the house. So how do we protect that? How do we make sure that no one's flipping their houses? We have something called a soft second, which is the difference between what the homeowner's 29% of their gross income is and what the house actually is valued at. That soft second amortizes over the 30-year mortgage until it is at zero at the same time that the actual mortgage is at zero. So the family is earning equity in the home, but it's only accruing at the rate that they're paying on their mortgage, not on the soft second, which is the actual value of the home.
So if they had to sell the house or the house was to be sold, does the equity in the house go back to Habitat?
Not the equity on their mortgage, only the difference between, so you're going to find out very quickly, I'm not a banker. As they're paying their mortgage on time and in full every year, a percentage of their soft second also is reduced. So while how much they have paid goes up, what they owe us in the soft second, should they decide to sell, goes down. So they are also building a little there. But let's just say that they get through 15 years and it was 100,000 soft second. They've only earned 50,000 as a result of paying on time and in full for 15 years. So that's the only part of that would be theirs at closing. We also have a shared appreciation agreement on it, so that if it's worth 300,000 when they purchase the house and it's worth 400 when they sell it, then half of that comes back to Habitat to build the next house, and the other half goes with the homeowner.
Gotcha.
And finally, we also have a right of first refusal. So we can, at fair market value, purchase the house back if that makes more sense. So that's our purchase model. All of our homes come with a New York State new home buyer's warranty, and that is also for our gut rehabs because John completely guts them. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, the gut rehabs, that's a totally different animal than with the new construction. But now the gut rehab is what it is. We take it right back down to the bare bones, do all of the repairs required, and basically I call it a puzzle, put the puzzle back together. And there's challenges. There's a lot of challenges. You never know what you're going to get when you open up those walls, especially in the houses maybe 75 to 100 years old. You just don't know until you start pulling that plaster off and you find you got lead, you encounter lead and all kinds of asbestos. So there's a lot of different angles you got to look at when it comes to rehab versus, we just completed 2, well, matter of fact, we're working on the CO for the second modular home in Washington Falls. So When I came on board, they had the two foundations at 53 and 55 Paggy, and this is the first time I've ever been involved with the modular construction. It's amazing how fast they can put these buildings up. In less than 4.5 hours, I had one building up. 30 days later, 4.5 hours, I had the second one up. And it's amazing what we can do basis a stick bill. You know, stick bills, they work. We're trying to weigh out money to see which one's actually more cost effective right now. But we're looking forward. Matter of fact, we have 2 more hopefully going up in Poughkeepsie, hopefully the first quarter of next year. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge, and doing it all with volunteers is even a bigger challenge. You know, because I find myself sometimes the guys come to work 2, 3, 4 days out of the week, and they're volunteers. You know, who wants to? That's a regular job. You know, so we try to split the wealth and split the workload up, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's a challenge.
But we've managed to, as I said, build 36 houses in the last 10 years, and it's a pretty amazing process. And if you'd like to see what it looks like to put up a modular home, go to our Facebook page. We actually had a volunteer who ran her drone for the entire time, and I think it's fast forward to the flight of the bumblebee. So it goes very, very quickly, but it's pretty amazing to watch that house go up, and even more amazing to see the face of the homeowner when she comes home and realizes that she now has a home to come home to. Just some amazing things that are happening with the process. We are the only organization that does first-time home buying with a subsidy the way we do it. If you look at other affordable housing programs, you'll see numbers that are far closer to the fair market value of the home, and this is the really scary one for us. People are buying homes because they can afford them, but get into them finding out that they can't be in them because they probably shouldn't even have a certificate of occupancy. There are major mechanical issues with the house. There, as John said, there are asbestos, there's lead, there are things that, and so now the homeowner's actually in worse shape than they were before because they have a mortgage. They're not able to live there, which means they still have to have a rental. And on top of that, they're trying to figure out how they're going to rehab this house. So we're really trying to make sure that people understand that the solution isn't to buy a house that is in really bad shape. The solution is to get a house that you can afford and that will be your forever home, that will keep your family going. So one more piece of information as those responsible for taxes in this community. Since 1986, our homeowners have paid over $500,000 in property taxes. So we are not asking for anything, we're giving back to the community. And as John said, when we do gut rehabs, sometimes that transforms neighborhoods. I remember my very first house was in my development director likes to call it the up-and-coming neighborhood. And it had been the first time anyone had done any work in that neighborhood in years. And within months of our beginning that process, developers started, not developers rather, but homeowners and property owners came to us and said, well, I guess if you can invest, we'll invest. And when you go in that neighborhood now, it looks completely different. So it's a pretty remarkable program. It's an exciting place to be, and we would love to come to Hyde Park and make some magic happen here too. So, and that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I just want to tell you, years ago now, I met someone who had just gotten her house. It was just completed, and I still remember her reaction. I mean, I didn't even know this woman, but she was so excited and so pleased. Your work is wonderful.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay.
And where is your store? I used to go to your store when it was down near Kmart. I know you closed that location. And
right
now
next to Aldi's?
Mm-hmm. The old babies are
The old babies are
the
down by
Shopping
Kohl's?
Center. Kohl's Shopping Center right there, 1822 South Road.
Okay. And you still have the one over in Kingston, too? There
is one, yes. So habitats are called affiliates, and each one is an independent affiliate representing their own community. And that, although we work very closely with them and we do a lot of things together, that is a different affiliate. And yes, they are still there in the old Wheaties warehouse, Wheaties Furniture Warehouse, yeah. Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay?
I just have one question, Mr. Hurd. Are any of your building supplies donated? Do you guys ever get donations from any?
We do have accounts where we get donations, yes. Williams Lumber, Home Depot, depending on, Home Depot provides us with appliances and stuff like that. So, yes, we do have accounts.
Excellent. Thank you.
We can always use more, though.
Yeah.
We can always use more.
And how do we get in touch with you? Just Facebook or?
I can give you my card afterwards, but yeah, Facebook is a good way to reach out to us, and our simple website, habitatduchess.org. Just reach out and we'll be happy to have any conversation with you you'd like.
We'd like to meet with John one day. We're trying to do some renovations here at the town hall. Maybe you can help us out.
You know that old saying, tit for tat.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to ask for a motion and a second to enter executive session and discuss matters leading to an appointment of a particular person.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ed.
Ed's coming in. How you doing, Ed?
I know her from the advocate because we have lots of issues with vacant properties. And she.
See you tomorrow. Thanks, thank you, Lisa.
But when she started speaking, I was like, oh, you just have that, you're as infectious now as you were before. And I was like, you are such a good representative.
A lot of trailers.
Just mentioned that to me today.
And we're all shut.
Never ends. Ready to pop your bread. Never ends. Need a snack.
And that's how you clear a room.
No, I think we should do it, because I got a whole bunch too, Al. I think we should do it. Yeah.
Smells delicious.
Sorry, Lynn,
Yeah.
I should have waited.
No, that's yours.
I should have kept you all in there to talk to you. That's okay.
About what?
Property line plan and then just to get your, I'll send an
We can do
email.
that off when we get off. Just quick. Look in there, I thought it was 7 o'clock. Okay, I ask for a motion and a second to return from the executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. State that no action has been taken during the executive session. Where's my, is there any old business or new business, anyone? I'd like to make a motion to.
I just wanted to say thank you to the Chamber of Commerce, the Fire Department, the Recreation Department, and I think it was Visual Environment.
No.
The tree lighting
They
this
wanted
year
me to
was
chance
really
it.
a wonderful event, very, very well attended. It was nice, nice community night, it really was. It was great. And Al, you did a good job too, just so.
Where? Oh, getting it done, you mean?
It was nice, it was a nice community event, there were a lot of, it was really well attended, a lot of people came out.
It was definitely a lot of people.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
police department.
Before you end, just a thank you to the board. It's been a pleasure. Good first year to all of you. This is your last meeting in 2022, so happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Too.
Thank you.
So, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Second.
Happy holidays.
Thanks, you too.
We're getting competitive.
I switched up everybody's bread, so nobody knows who got the bad one.